skating lesson. I'm Jennifer Kirk.
I'm Dave Lees.
And I'm Jonathan Byer, coming to you from like this shadowy thing in honor of Jenny.
I love it. Guys, hi.
Jenny, it's you. It's you.
It's you guys. I'm so excited. Jonathan, I've never discussed skating with you before, so I'm so excited. And Dave Lees.
Yes.
I'm happy to be back.
Yes, I was so excited. This has been our surprise. It's been in the works for about a month. So, Jenny, update us on your life. I watch your Instagram stories, and there are a lot of them. I just have to point out that keeping up with Jenny Kirk's Instagram stories is as stressful as keeping up with the Kardashians. It's
really an investment. You have to be invested in my life. You have to have started like months ago, and it's hard to jump right in. But I am now a licensed therapist, so I can diagnose the entire skating community with mental illness officially. No.
Right.
And I've been getting my clinical degree in social work from Columbia University. We'll be graduating in 1 month, and then I hope to work with skaters and athletes.
Now, will you work from where you are now, or what is?
I don't know. So that's kind of like the decisions, because I would like to continue to coach. So kind of making that decision the next year, want to be connected with the skating rink and working with skaters. So probably moving.
Okay.
We don't know. Yeah.
Now there are aprons. We've watched you cook. There are aprons. There's an air fryer. There are gummy bears and salad. Update us. What are we into current?
So I busted my air fryer. It is no longer, and I haven't been able to talk about that on my Insta story because I've been very upset. But yes, I taught myself how to sew last year. Started cooking, never really made a successful smoothie though. Thank you for your tips, Dave Lees. And decided that I didn't like how aprons fit. I feel like they're too baggy for women. They need to be form-fitting.
And they need pockets.
They need pockets and they need sparkles. So I taught myself through Insta story. So many of you guys from the skating community helped me to learn how to sew in YouTube videos. And now I sew aprons and outfits. No skating dresses though. That will not happen.
Okay.
But I enjoy trying.
All right.
I like that there are many facets to Jenny. So if I'm going to click on an Instagram story, we're going to get cooking Jenny. We're going to get super insightful psychologist Jenny, and then we're going to get skating analyst Jenny, and then that dog. That dog has its own following, I'm pretty sure of it.
Yes. Belle likes the attention. She is my daughter.
Okay.
No, my favorite is when Jenny is on a hunt. She is going to Joann's to get something, and the nephews are in the back of the car just along for the ride, and one of them is always super into it. Yes.
I was teaching Ben, my little 5-year-old nephew, how to sew last weekend. I'm teaching him young. He knows all about having to have it fit his body well. He likes ruffles and he likes sparkles. So.
Okay.
We're starting young.
Okay.
But enough about me. So get me up to date in your lives. Where are you guys? What's going on?
I finished my MBA. I'm still working in communications. And yeah, I have 2 nephews as well. Yes.
I enjoy watching them on Instagram too.
Yes.
I don't know. Keep going.
No, I said they're more entertaining than I am. Oh, I have a picture. This was, So.
At the ready.
Yeah, at the ready. So
what's the ready?
That's both things in
I am
one
a
picture,
proud alpha uncle. I am. Yes. Yeah.
I love that. And Jonathan, where are you? Are you still singing? What's going on?
Yes, I'm still an opera singer, but I'm just in Philadelphia right now because I bought a place in New York City and I'm so excited to move there, but it's one of those brownstones where you have to hoist everything through the window. So I have to wait for them to finish the renovations before I can move in. So it's painfully within grasp, but yet still not.
And he's also a reality TV star on House Hunters.
We are filming the rest of our House Hunters episode next weekend.
Wait, so is this for the brownstone that you have now? What are you hunting for? Okay, so you're spoiling the ending for us, or are you?
Potentially. Whoops. I mean, the unit I've purchased. Yes, I shouldn't have given it away with saying brownstone, but whatever.
Okay. So when is this going to be on? Because I would like to watch.
Well, they're very secretive about when it's going to air, but fear not, I will let everyone know when they can tune in. See how many skating kind of jabs I can get in throughout the episode. They'll want to cut every one, but okay.
Did you talk about skating when you were on?
Oh yeah, and I did another project with another network where I also kept trying to talk about skating,
cut the skating.
They're like, no one knows what GOE means. Please keep moving on. That's not a relevant joke to anything we're talking about. And I was like, okay, I tried. You know, you do what you can to promote skating.
I respect that.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
Let's talk about skating. We are all in our pink for the ladies today.
For Gabby Dalman, we're matching. Yes, she
had a hairpiece and she also had prom hair. I respect that.
But I didn't like the eyeshadow, and I felt like it was severe. But she had an ultimate moment. I don't know if you noticed after her spin at kind of her smoke break, she was like feeling it to Samson and Delilah. It was a little sexy. I was taken aback.
I felt she was maybe feeling it from here up, but like the hip movement seemed a little phoned in, perhaps.
I was going to say, did you guys have a little moment to her?
I did have a slight moment, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I'm going to try to do the sandwich approach with some of the ladies. So it's like, give a compliment, then give,
Smart.
Yeah. So she has the best Rosano of any of the women. That short program, I would have given her +5. Great to see her do triple S, triple toe in the long program. But I did feel, and I felt in the short before her lets, she's thinking about the jumps. Like she's doing what you're talking about, Dave, like she's doing the movements and she'll turn it on, but then she's on to the next element. She's not like fully invested in the entire performance. But she was packaged well. I do appreciate the hairpiece and the prom hair.
Now, a lot of her jumps were straight, like there was no tilt, like a jump has a natural tilt to it. Is she pulling her arms too much? What's happening there? Because she was often too straight up and down in the air on her jumps.
Yeah, so her lets in her short, she has a ton of speed going into these jumps, and she usually uses that momentum, and it catapults her back, and then she gets outside of her circle. So if you watch her lets in her short program, had she gotten her left arm in front, even though she landed and she was open, she could have saved the landing a little bit more. She just has so much momentum, and she needs to stay on top of her jumps a little bit more on her takeoff.
So Jenny, this is something that interests me in general, because it seems like sometimes when certain skaters kind of barrel down too fast, it's actually counterintuitive. But yet I've seen other skaters land like triple axels when they're just kind of almost standing still. So when you were doing like the big triple Lutz combos and stuff like that, what was your approach to kind of the speed, and how did you find that balance?
Well, I hated the triple Lutz, so I would really like pray beforehand, just kind of like dissociate before I took off. But in terms of there's a fine line, and particularly when it's under pressure, sometimes you have that adrenaline, so it's going to make you skate a little bit faster. And I see that with Gabby. Sometimes it looks like the adrenaline carries her a little bit too much, where it gets out of control. But every skater has their sweet spot, and there's not really, sometimes you can use that momentum to help you, but there's not really one way to do it in general. But I want to ask you guys, so I was just looking last night on Wikipedia, kind of getting up to date on some of her struggles. Did she have post-concussion syndrome? What happened to her this season?
She had announced that she was struggling with mental health. And she kind of left it now Dave, correct me if I'm getting this wrong, but she kind of left it as a blanket, I'm going to work on my mental health, and then disappeared and re-emerged at Canadian Nationals, which had a very similar kind of short program feel to it, which was she kind of just made it through, but you were kind of left wondering how a long program might be possible. And that was kind of the vibe I got here too, although the long program here was much more successful than the one she did at Canadian Nationals. She didn't get into much specifics other than she was just working on mental health.
But the mom blamed it on the concussion. And it was confusing because it seemed like Gabby went with mental health. She's also told us that she was quitting Instagram and then was posting hours later. So I'm just confused, and I don't know, is the right thing for people to support her to talk about it, to not talk about it? I think she likes to edit her photos and they get a lot of comments, but I don't know if people should just be ignoring it. Like, what is the right approach? If she was sitting on your couch, Jenny, should we talk and give Gabby the attention, or should we not and she'll just work through it? Like, what is the appropriate way to support her?
And just to add to that, if you think that like putting her in a world team like this helps her or can detract kind of what she's kind of working on, because I'm sure she wanted to go to the World Championships and try to finish top 10 so Canada could have 2 spots. But and I'm sure Canada wanted her to go, but yet I wonder, as a mental health professional now, licensed and all, if you would think that if that makes it a more dangerous situation for her, or if that helps her work through some things.
So I guess for me, it goes back to what exactly is going on. Because when you hear different stories, if it's post-concussion syndrome, that can have depression and anxiety. And with that, I would have, here's the thing, as a clinician, I can't tell somebody what to do. But if she were me or she were my daughter, I would say take the season off. After something like the Olympic season, you want to have time to rest, particularly if this is something that she's been struggling with for a while. Social media is a huge beast. There's so much editing of photos, and you get addicted to that rush of somebody commenting, somebody liking your photos. And there is this pull to look a certain way, and particularly in skating. So yeah, I think the stepping away from social media would have been good for her. I'm hearing all these different stories. I read an article where her mom was talking about this is perfectionism, which it sounds like there's a thread of stuff that's going on with what everybody is saying, but just take time away. It's okay to step away. You're not going to lose that momentum. But one of the things that she did say after she skated was that she was tired, that fatigue got to her. That's something you can control. I mean, I'm going to hold her accountable for that no matter what. No, these are real things, mental health. Very important, but fatigue is outside of that if you're not trained before a competition, that's on you.
I was confused too, because she was getting back into the rink and decided that she was going to go to nationals, and it was like 3 weeks later. And I know the field isn't as deep in Canada as it is in the US, but nationals is still a huge event of the year. It just seems like they're not setting her up for success often. Like they want to get treatment, but they want her out there, and they kind of have this push and pull.
Right. And as an athlete, you want to be out there. There's this desire. She loves to skate. She wants to perform, but and it's hard because she is over 18, so nobody can tell her not to do this. But I think perhaps the federation, understandably, they want to get those spots, but maybe it's their job to step in if somebody really is going through something like post-concussion syndrome or any sort of mental illness, to say, hey, let's pull you aside for a season and really get you the treatment that maybe will set you up better long term.
Because as Canada...
Oh, sorry. I was just going to say that there doesn't seem to be a head coach. Like, Brian works with Lee, and it seems like no one is fully taking ownership of it. Like, we're all kind of like, if you notice there's like an awkwardness when they get off the ice, like, is Brian going to her first? Is Lee going to her first? She seems to want to be near, like, whoever.
Well, and she went to grab Brian's hand to, like, hold his hand while they awaited the score, would say things like, I'm back, and, give her sound bites so that we could hear them in the kiss and cry. And you just sensed an uneasy feeling in the kiss and cry in general. Like Gabby was doing her planned kind of PR moment, and Brian and Lee were kind of unsure of how to take in that show, I guess. It just made me a little uncomfortable. But the indicator to me was, I think Gabby is an athletic skater. Like you say, that triple toe is like incredible.
Respect.
We talked about, like a total athlete, where we thought, like, if she wasn't skating, she could probably be an Olympic athlete in some other sport. But she seems to fight that athlete identity and wants to be the ballerina. And unfortunately, she is not quite that. So I think by trying to deny it, and these fake nails and the overdone hair and the overdone makeup, it just seems like desperately someone trying to deny what they do bring to the skating and force something that they don't. And it just comes across as a disconnect to me a little bit, I guess, as a viewer.
Yeah, and there's this perception in the skating culture, we talked about it, for years on TSL, that you have to be the princess role, that you have to look a certain way, your body, you have to have certain lines, and that's just not true. And when athletes embrace who they are, not only are they going to succeed on the ice, but off the ice, and it's when you try to change any part of yourself or fit into a mold, that we see that in your skating. We see skating is the one sport where you can really tell who somebody is and what's going on in their life off the ice by how they perform on the ice. And I think that is telling, Jonathan, that there's a way, particularly when skaters reach a certain age, where they're trying to find out who they are and their identity. And I think, understandably, for coaches, that may be a hard situation because they don't want to tell them. But at the same point, it's like these young women are figuring out who they are in front of all of us. And now with social media all the time, we see this.
Yeah.
So
that's that.
That was a good, Yes.
Yeah, we got into that. But there was drama in the ladies' event. And Dave, can you explain to us exactly what happened and all the facts? Because, again, we're talking about stories and people saying different things. What's going on here?
So I think it was during the 20-minute practice for the short program, Eunsoo was by the boards. Mariah Bell was skating her short program. Celine Dion was playing. She did her back 3 turn, leg extension before her double axel, and she clipped Eunsoo. But Eunsoo's agency said that Mariah Bell stabbed her and that there have been months of bullying preceding the event and that it was intentional, and that Mariah Bell didn't apologize. So walk us through your take on ladies skating etiquette, all of it. Yes.
So I'm going to ask the first question of you, Jenny. As a world competitor, when you're on a piece of practice ice like that, it is your music. How much are you, as the skater, responsible for getting out of other people's way versus all the other skaters? Is it their job to remove? And would you have ever stopped a run of your short program while the music is playing at Worlds?
Okay, so to answer a couple parts of that question, whether it's at Worlds, whether it's at home, when your music is playing, you have the right of way. That's kind of like the law in skating. Also, watching this, it doesn't seem like Mariah even realized that she hit Eunsoo. Like, she continued to go. She did the double axel, and Eunsoo, touched her leg, but there wasn't blood. So I don't know how much Mariah was aware of what actually happened. Second thing that I wrote down here in Big Stars, poor communication. So they're both coached by Raphael, and the fact that this was talked about by an outside source, I'm wondering why it wasn't handled internally. If I'm coaching you, Dave, and you, Jonathan, and Dave, you're in your run through and you hurt Jonathan and you're both in a lesson at the same time, and I notice Jonathan is hurt, when you skate over back to me as your coach, Dave, I'm going to say, did you see that you hurt Jonathan? Are you guys okay? Like, let's talk it out. Or any apologies that need to be? I mean, it's really the coach's responsibility to make sure that things are amicable. I mean, you can't control that, but to at least open up that communication. So I'm wondering if that happened. And with that, when you talk about bullying, you kind of need to have evidence. Particularly, it's not something that happens one time. So if they say that she's been bullying her for months, did they have documented evidence of this going on?
The Korean agency has said that they're going to produce things after the World Championships.
Okay.
But I think people at the rink are saying that doesn't happen. They said that there are separate change rooms. Adam Rappan says that he's been with them both in the same change room. So there's just a lot of conflicting stories about what is going on. But it seems like the agency ran with this. And maybe it got outside of Raphael's hands. And as you can see, Raphael said that Mariah Bell couldn't hurt anyone and that he thought that this entire thing was ridiculous. So I think it kind of escaped everyone, but I thought that it was strange that the USFS let it fester. I mean, it was on the nightly news the next night. Like, this was a huge story.
Jenny, God forbid this had happened to you at an event and suddenly it's just getting out of control on social media and somehow it turned to race right away and all of these sorts of things. What would you hope for the USFS to do on your behalf in that kind of moment? Is there anything a federation can do?
Make a statement? Did they make a statement?
No, they waited.
That's weird to me. Maybe she wanted to get the attention. Here's the thing. And this is a question too. Do you think that this was smart for the Korean Federation to do?
No.
Because we saw Eunsoo, Dave, I think you mentioned this in a text. Yeah. She's not known for being particularly consistent under pressure.
No, she's still, I would say that she's still in her developing phase, right? So she's still learning how to compete at this level. And I think that maybe it helps blow up her into a star in Korea. So as they're figuring out her future and that she's on the verge of maybe stardom, I think that it'll help her get the attention, but you also have to skate well. There's the celebrity and then there's the skating results. And I think that it didn't help her here. It was a huge distraction and it seemed to have damaged her relationship with Raphael because as you can see when she got off the ice, he kind of held her guard like this, looked away and looked ticked. So he may have a contract where he has to coach her for an extended period of time, but he looked like he wanted nothing to do with her after the event. Like his body language was clear that he did not agree.
The question to me is how much is Eunsoo's involvement? Where does it start and finish? What is the agency and what is Eunsoo herself? Because we know at times agencies can be ruthless and make strange choices that were not wise within the sport maybe, but they think it's helping something outside of the sport. But the fact that the Korean Federation went along and filed the complaint as requested by the agency, now the Korean Federation is involving themselves in kind of a scandal here. And as video shows and industry insiders know, the practice in and of itself is not damning, so then everyone turns to the bullying reports, and it seems hard to find any sort of corroboration there. So I don't know if the ISU has to say something or get involved.
Well, my question to Jonathan is, what was their motivation? Like, what did they want? Were they hoping that the ISU would say, Mariah, you can't skate? I mean, what did they want? What was their hope with this?
I don't know.
It seems so unclear.
They're not
because
really
Mariah and Eunsoo were close, but like it would have been the difference between 8th and 9th or 8th and 7th, or we're not talking about the difference between 4th and 3rd even. You know, it seems a strange thing to do.
Yeah.
And she'll be a real persona non grata in the sport, I think, unfortunately, if it turns out she kind of was behind all this, which I hope she isn't, but it's yet to be seen, I think.
Also, then the Koreans are sending out this photo of her, and she has like a slight little cut on the back that you get from when you're clipped with a blade, but it's not bleeding, it's not a gash, that doesn't look like she needed 15 stitches. She looked relatively okay. She was able to skate, thankfully, like no one was really hurt. It just seemed like they blew something up over nothing that then was kind of a distraction for her.
And Jenny, can you speak to, if you were going to try to clip a competitor, just like Mariah did, how would you even go about planning that? You know, people are like, you can see her zero in on Eunsoo. And I was like, but no, that's where her program goes.
Well, yes. In the tape, Mariah looked like she got a little too close to the board.
Yeah.
And yeah, she could have been. These are new rinks. You're not used to training in them. You're going to get a little bit closer.
She was closer than usual.
Just here's the thing. If I'm going to skate into you, Dave Lees, I put my own life in jeopardy.
Yeah.
Mariah Bell does not seem masochistic. She does not seem like she's somebody who would be out to hurt herself and then somebody else. I don't get that from her. I also don't understand. You need evidence when you say that somebody's been bullying you. You need, like you said, Jonathan, you need some sort of collaboration. You need somebody to clarify that this is actually going on. It just seems like it's so strange that and of all people, Mariah, we've interviewed her. Yeah. She seems so pleasant and like she would never hurt somebody. Part of getting involved in skating too is that you know that there's a potential for somebody to skate over you, skate over a limb. We were talking about this with Roman. I mean, it's going to happen.
Okay, so we can talk about this. The funny part about this is, first of all, I think it's weird that Mariah Bell has no reason to really go after Eunsoo. If this happened between Mariah and Brady, that would be way more interesting, right? Like, Mariah Bell maybe had a chance to be national champion this year if she were this ruthless person. Not really. What's funny is Mariah Bell's boyfriend has been involved in 2 incidents. He skated over Fleur's finger, Fleur Maxwell, and she had to get it reattached. And then he skated into Aretha Salette, and she wound up tearing her ACL. So it's just...
And that's common.
Yes.
The thing is, like, this happens all the time at rinks. You don't have eyes in the back of your head. You're going to bump into somebody sometime. Like,
stuff happens. But I just thought it was strange. Mariah and Eunsoo, it doesn't seem like there's a motivation on that end. But it's weird is that Eunsoo is clearly, like, she moved and is with Mariah's same coach. She's using her same music, even like the similar styles. It seems like maybe, and then on top of it, like they use the same costume designers. Like it's a little like Eunsoo would seem more fixated on Mariah than Mariah on Eunsoo. That's just the strange part about this. I think if she tries to date Roman, then we have to have like a single white female moment. Yeah, like an intervention. But
mental health intervention.
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys watched the medal ceremony at Nationals. So Mariah, she had that mistake in her long program. But what struck me is she was mad with herself. You could tell that she was smiling. She seemed very pleasant to her competitors. Right. And I remember actually watching it and thinking, wow, like she has a good head on her shoulders. She seems like she's pretty balanced resolved it and is okay. And some of her competitors actually seemed a little bit more upset with other people. So I just don't get that vibe from her.
And why would she do it? The thing, too, is if you're going to intentionally stab someone, she could have done it at home away from the cameras every single day and done it a lot harder. Like, she could have, like, right? Like, if you're saying, like, if you wanted to intentionally stab someone.
You don't do it in the public eye. Like, no.
I would go after you, and it wouldn't just be, like, la-da-da, like, we would go full on. Yeah.
And so many times in these kinds of stories, it's like, well, we don't know. We weren't there. Well, a lot of people were there, and there are several videos from different angles. So unfortunately, it just really detracted and created this nonsensical story because the outside media is just so hungry for a Tonya Harding reference. You know what I mean? Yes. So they're all excited to clamor it back and be like Tonya point 2 or 2.0 or whatever. But it detracted because actually both of them, especially in the short, did really beautiful jobs. Like, these were two beautiful skaters that did really commendable jobs aside from Eunsoo's flip, but it just seems such a shame to have distracted themselves. And I thought, because you could hear in the kiss and cry after the short program, Mariah had to keep promising Raphael's wife, no, I won't go on social media. No, I won't turn on my phone. Like, there's this kind of, they were clearly trying to shield as much as they could, but then we realized she did know about all of this stuff, her Instagram being attacked, calling her racist and she should die and all this sort of stuff. So the fact that she delivered the performance she did in the long program was even more kind of inspiring to see, because I thought maybe she just was aloof, but she wasn't. She knew and was able to still focus, which I thought was very commendable on her part.
Yeah, she used that energy, and that is the way you do it. You let the skating do the talking. You leave all the other caca away and let it sort out the way that it needs to. And I really think that happened here. I'm wondering though, okay, let's go back to skating. With Mariah's short program, I think she performs that so well. She got like 8s and some 7s in her PCS. I would have given her a 9 for performance. I don't understand where the disconnect there is. What are we going to do though? I mean, her triple toe, I thought it was under in the short.
The toe, yeah, and they did not call it, right? They let it slide.
Vanessa Guzmeroli was a generous caller here across the board.
Yes, she was.
Would not have given.
I like the idea of her being up there being like, well, it's real hard to do that. It's fine.
Like, I couldn't do that, so
Yeah, exactly.
But yes, the way that she handled the pressure, respect. With Eunsoo, can we please talk about her skating to rock?
My daughter, first of all, you said that she was a typical me skater. You had this comment, yeah.
She is. She's gorgeous. But first thing, if you compare both of them skated to like Pretty Music in their short program, Eunsoo just doesn't give me a lot in her facial expressions. There's a way for you to have a pleasant smile or to connect with me when you're skating to nice music. She's packaged very well. She could use a hairpiece. In her long program, in the middle section when they're doing the duet, the Thelma and Roxy duet, she gives sultry so well. It's awesome. It's, she does that excellent. But at the end, when it's the Roxy Chicago part and she's like doing things like this, yes, you need to grab me. I want to be eating out of the palm of your hand. And just, even if you've fallen on all your jumps, you need to give us that shimmy, that energy. Why not? Why don't they tell her to smile? That's the only thing that her skating, is great in every other part, but just smile.
Maybe Mariah and Eunsoo can come out and do the thing together at the All That Skate in June.
Well, they have the same choreography. I mean, they both know the steps. So
yes.
So now, Jenny, obviously you had such an iconic Chicago program. Did you feel like you were portraying a particular character or telling a story? Or, and to me that was clear. And if Eunsoo, it's clear that maybe there's not a story being told, one character or another, which I think that's okay. Like Gabby did Carmen, and I wondered, why are you bothering with Carmen if you're not going to do the story? If you're just going to skate, just skate to something else, please. But for the Chicago program, at least the music is, give us big band fun. Give us that era at least of joy and pizzazz, even if you cannot tell us the complicated story and emotion behind it. But I felt even that was a little bit missing. And she was showing us what she thought it should be instead of feeling what it should have been. So it seemed very much like I choreographed the smile here.
Yes.
But maybe she didn't mean it.
Yeah, it's like a halfway. You can't halfway a smile.
Yeah.
But my thing is, if you're going to choose to skate to lyrics, it's one thing to skate just Carmen, but if you choose to skate to lyrics and the singer is a particular character in a movie, you want to portray that singer. So they're that character. And so when Roxy is singing, Roxy was not sultry. Roxy was more flirty, fun. I'm going to kill you, but I'm going to do it with a smile on my face. And so she needs to show us that a little bit more. I feel like I'm being so mean to her. I just have to say her dresses are gorgeous. Her dresses are gorgeous. She has a phenomenal triple S triple toe. Respect that she did it on the second Let's after missing the first one. Her flip, she's to the left outside of her circle.
Yeah, she needs to nail both triple Let's triple toes like Brady. She needs to do it twice in the program. Get it done clean longs every time. She's improved the sow cow. It's still a little scary, but she's getting better with it and does it throughout the program, throughout the season. They've moved it and it's gotten more consistent. So I don't know. My Eunsoo will come back better than ever. It definitely makes me want to watch her more. So I think that was very effective by all that skate. I'm fascinated now.
It made the event more interesting.
Yeah.
Thoughts on Mariah, though? Oh, I don't want to cut you off, Jonathan. Did you have more on it?
No, I was just going to say, unless you're Mariah.
They should compete together in every event from now on.
Okay.
I think, obviously.
I actually think it made Mariah skate really well.
Yeah.
I mean, she made herself skate well, but perhaps she needs a little bit of controversy. I love that she has that fire in her because I didn't know if she would get sad and kind of, introverted and like very victimizing me, that she has that. She needs to bring that more.
So this skating dad called me that he works for the ISU and he used to be at 7K, and he said that he once saw Mariah Bell get really mad at Roheen. He said it was Roheen, so it could have been about anything. And he said that there was yelling in the lobby, and he said that Mariah Bell stormed out of the rink. She closed the door gently behind her. She went to her car, and then like 10 minutes later she went back to get in her skates, like very calmly. So she's not like a very angry Tonya Harding type.
She feels it and lets it go instead of carries it, you're saying. Okay.
Like if
she's emotionally aware and healthy.
If Eunsoo said this about Ashley, it would be so much juicier, right? Like then you could at least you could be like, oh.
Or the thing is, like, I have a handful of women that you could shit about me back, just of all people, Mariah. Like, if
did you ever clip Luann?
No, but here's the thing: if we were both going into that Let's at the same time, I was not moving. I did not care if we both ended up in stitches. Like, the corner is both of ours. And she would move. A little bit to be said. I mean, I never intentionally would hurt her.
There is that game of chicken on the ice though, like when you're both skating and not say you're not in a lesson, right? If you're skating and your competitor is skating, it's like which one is going to move. It's kind of like when you're waiting to see if someone's going to try to merge in or not, and you're like, no. It's well, here's the thing: you both pay the $20. Like it's even, so you're both paying for the session. So the ice is everybody's. You can, and
unless
that's
it's your music playing.
Then you have right of way.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Should we move on to Russian skaters and weird arms?
Yeah. How do you feel about the arms, Jenny? What's going on?
So I was pause. Why is Christina Aguilera telling us to get it up for the last 2 minutes of Sophia's program? Like she's literally get it up. Okay, I got it up. I'm good. So she has nice fingers, but this is much. Why so many arms?
I don't know. And she also sings. And she was in this she was honoring Mishin and Moskvina. And she was singing and then lip syncing and skating at the same time. It was special. It was very special. Yeah.
I think the thing about the burlesque program that's most jarring for me is that she starts with a cross before she begins skating. And then the minute it starts, it's Cher talking about taking off all your clothes. And I was like, that's a real leap. Like, holy cow. Oh my gosh. But I agree, in the short program, especially, if you just look from the wrist to the fingertip, there's some cool Spanish stuff going on. But it's from the wrist to the shoulder that it's just nothing. And it's exacerbated by this hand kind of position over her in the jumps. And it's, in addition to it being unattractive, it kind of makes me feel like she's not fully extending in general. And her jumps, to my eye, seem not as high or
to your eye, the K-scope told us that they were quite low. A Mishin skater getting 0.3 meters, I thought was really unacceptable.
It seemed decidedly un-Mission. Yeah. Some
what
of the
did you
jumps.
guys think about this? What is it? The K-scope?
The K-scope.
I felt like the UFO was coming to get me.
Yes.
The sound effect was the worst. Yeah, because it came on top of while they were playing the music, while they were showing the replay. So then it seemed like an alien entrance or something. And the fact that it was always on the double axel wasn't as necessarily insightful as if it had been on someone else's triple Lutz or something. When they were doing the pair's throws and they were talking about height, distance, and speed, it was much more interesting maybe than just everyone's double axel.
Japan was trying. You know, they were trying.
They're technological, yeah. In respect. Okay. David, so can we just talk about her technique a little bit? So many of the Russian skaters skate with their back, and I can't diss it because she skated very well. She did do a single loop. It was not a single toe loop, but it was a single loop. We don't need to see that. She never, Jonathan, for your forward, she never gets her body up. So the way Frank teaches, and I think he's a great technician, is you use everything from your legs. You want to just keep your back really nice and flat. You don't need to use your upper body. You jump from your legs, and therefore you're going to be nice and straight in the air. I don't know. My question is, with the Russian skaters, do they tell them to change their posture on the crossovers? Because it's one thing to do it if you're using technique on your jump, on your takeoff. Why does she skate like this on her crossovers?
They don't seem to focus on the crossovers as much as they focus on the other things, if you notice, especially with me. It's kind of like anything goes as long as you're getting the jumps done. It seems like they're so focused on the points and the elements, and the crossovers are kind of lost. Yeah. And
then does that arm up become something that actually becomes a crutch for them in kind of helping pull up? Or did you do a lot of the over the head stuff ever, or did you try it? Did you find it annoying? Or
yeah, I didn't really do it, but it also wasn't something that we could do to get points. So it was kind of like you were, somebody did it.
Which technically is still the case now. They've taken away that credit for it. So the fact that some are still doing it makes me wonder if it's actually helping them cheat in a weird way to pull up the gravity or something. I can't figure it out.
Yeah, it seems it's excessive, and if you do it, you need to straighten your arm. Question for you guys, though. So what does she need to do to get on the podium?
I think she's one and done. I don't think she's going to be back here with some of the other ladies coming back. I think she needs to stay consistent, but she doesn't have very high jumps. So it's not like I see her getting a really successful quad or something. I don't know. I don't know what to do for her.
It seems like she's maxed out on her potential, and by being European champion and being in the Grand Prix final, I think this is a huge season that maybe was even beyond what they thought could have been. Because I think, when we talked about how they agonized over the Russian world team, Sofia really had earned the only spot, and it was figuring out who else to send with her. And unfortunately, if anything, I would have liked to have seen Elizaveta in place of Sofia, but she really did earn it as best she could have. But I think with the people turning senior next year, she doesn't have a chance anymore.
She's very consistent, and I really liked her makeup in her long program.
Yeah, I think she should keep singing and skating and maybe do a show and be
pretty girl.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's very, very pretty. Okay, talking about pretty, let's talk about Brady.
Yes.
What do we think about her?
Okay.
Jump into it, Dave, please.
I have to say, I tried to just watch her free skate with, take out everything that we know about her skating. It's really stiff and forced throughout. She never allows you to relax into her program, and some of that is the Benoit choreography, but it's really hard to watch because she's constantly working. Even the spins, she is working the body and respect, but she doesn't ever have a soft knee or any moments of grace, and I think that her skating skills suffer as a result. Yeah. What do you take on that? Jonathan.
Okay, so Jonathan, why don't you jump in?
Well, I'm trying to also put in perspective how fast someone can truly improve. Because remembering back to just that Olympic season, it was so much more remedial. It's sort of in its expression and its overall style in general. So she has definitely made a step forward. Of course, we just want her to take 10 steps forward. And I don't know in certain areas where you see, okay, just give this time. Or if you're like, no, this really needs not more of the same, but an actual change. I understand the idea of Benoit because they're trying to not make it look like she's trying and failing at a traditional lyrical program, I think. But I think they're doing I think they're not giving her enough credit, because I think if given a softer program with a softer choreographer who is going to work consistently with her, some of those improvements might be possible. I don't know what your take is on the potential there, Jenny.
Yeah, she seems to be somebody who takes instruction very well. And my perception is they went from one extreme to the next. So last year, there wasn't a lot of makeup. There wasn't a ton of sparkle, like it wasn't packaged. And now she has the lipstick that matches the dress, that matches the nail polish, the eyeshadow, the hair's back. It's just a little bit too packaged. It's too much. And I even starts here, who is Brady? I want Brady to show us who she is, and I don't know who that is. Everything she does is stiff, but it's great. She has great spins. I love that they took out the Let's Loop, because she was consistently had too much adrenaline and her timing was off on that. They're smart. She has a smart team, but now I kind of want them to wash it all away a little bit and get back to, let me see, who are you? Let's figure out who you are as a skater on the ice. You've proven yourself as a consistent competitor, but maybe put her in a pantsuit. Give her some low lights. Take away some of the makeup. Just show me who you are. Have her pick the music, and she doesn't. It's not authentic to who she is. That makes sense.
And if you said to Brady, why don't you pick your music? I can't even begin to imagine even what style it would be. Because, again, like you say, we've seen her do kind of Disney fairy tale stuff. We've seen her do the angular modern. We've seen her do a Romeo and Juliet. And it doesn't seem like anything is totally clicking as a fit.
She seems normal, though. Like, it seems like they try to put something on her that's too extreme. Like, I think she could go more mainstream in the middle. She seems like she's a kind of normal girl.
Which we see a lot of times. I feel like unique skaters are so afraid to be unique, and they just want to be normal. And I think they have someone who could thrive in the traditional format, but they're trying to make her too unique.
Yeah, and she does it. She's trying so hard. She has the facial expression, but it's almost like too much, where I just want you to be you, be authentic. Just like you said, Jonathan, that there's no right way to do it. And I feel like this has been kind of an experiment where we go one side to the next. So if you guys were her team, what would you do with her in the off season?
I would send her to Lori and just have her work with Lori for an extended period of time, because she's so consistent with the jumps that I bet that her jumps wouldn't really suffer if she spent an extended time, even not just like one-on-one with Lori, but just like spending time in the rink while Lori's working with Sui and Han and talking to them about courage. And I think that she could just like spend that time with her, just kind of listening to music, watching what Lori does with other skaters, working on the ice, maybe like one lesson a day. And I think that they could consistently work that, because I think the technical is fine and probably not going to change, but the skating is what's going to really make the difference going forward. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's literally in the material, because like you say, Jenny, I think she absolutely is a dream student, because she will so take to heart whatever is being told to her. Or even Tom Dixon, or someone to just try to soften up some of the angular moves. And when I tried to look closely at her arms, like there is quality to it. It's just not being fully exploited yet, maybe.
Yeah.
But I think the two triple Lutz, triple toes, like that's big. If she can continue to consistently do that. I mean, her scoring potential is great. I just hope she gets it kind of in order over the summer.
Yeah, and level 4s on all of her spins, I believe, and everything, and the footwork. I mean, she's so precise, but it's almost like, make it a little messy.
Yeah.
Talking about precision, too. Yeah, no, keep going, Jonathan.
Well, I'm just going to talk about the Canadian cameras were so high def that there were a couple of alarming moments in the kiss and cry with self-tanner moments, because a lot of skaters would also lift up their hands in the kiss and cry, and you could see they would do like parts of their hand and like not the palms, and like unfortunately Brady was a victim of this. And I understand you're doing it for the arena and the crowd, but these particular high def cameras had everyone looking. You could see every contour that was done on every skater, and it was a little alarming, I thought, in the kiss and cry. So maybe no high def there would be great.
Yeah, give them a nice like Instagram filter.
Yes, just smooth it out for everybody there. Yeah.
Those lines, those
That
wrinkles.
would be really sweet. Okay.
Well, Satoku,
Yeah.
okay, we talk about Tanner and packaging. I think she was the best packaged of everybody.
Really?
She was getting married in the short program.
Okay.
Like, she had the wedding dress on with the hairpiece. I thought she was packaged great. She just doesn't jump on her triplets and her triple flip. It scares the cuck out of me. Watch that compared to her double axel triple toe, where she gets such nice arc on the triple toe, great height. How does she get back on the podium?
See, I have to disagree about the packaging. I think the idea for the dress was beautiful, but... So
which one, Dave?
The
long
free.
Or the short?
So Satoko was told to put on weight by doctors, and that was something that was kind of like grazed over, but they talked about female athlete triad syndrome. But Satoko is very little, and then they have half of the dress cut out by the ribs, and to me it almost looked like when she skates, it looks like she's a victim of Gabby Daleman's Instagram editing, where it looks like half the body is missing. And like, I'm so distracted by her ribs and her body that I miss the beautiful skating. And she's only got like one sleeve. And I'm like, wait, like she's like really little. And I'm like looking at her, and her skating is small to begin with compared to the other ladies. I just think it doesn't make her look bigger and grander in addition to the tiny jumps. So
you would have more like fabric.
More fabric. More Lisa McKinnon bling it out, you know.
Playing the devil's advocate on the other side. Are we weight shaming that she's too skinny? Like, would we tell a bigger skater you need to cover up maybe other parts?
I'm not trying to weight shame her, but I'm like, she's very slight, and it seems like they're showing it off. And in a sport where we're always worrying, like, are the skaters healthy? Are you being enough? Like, to me, it's just like, whoa. You know, like that's...
Well, and more to the PCS point, like one of the criticisms of her skating is that it comes across as small. So does having that kind of cutout make her seem as long as possible, or as, you know, to take up as much, you know, space around her as possible? I didn't mind it as much. It got a little more pageanty as the season went on. It was a little chicer and more plain in the beginning of the season, and slowly things were getting jeweled and stuff like that. But I thought the one arm was very cool because it was distinctively Satoko in that she was going to do a sophisticated, slightly more elevated program than everyone else. So she was going to wear an asymmetrical kind of thing. And when she started with the glove on her own hand, it did have this kind of like two dueling people quality to it. Like there was one person being grabbed by another, and it just kind of set this scene of this like back and forth. I just thought her program amidst all the others, this was a well-skated event for me, but it really lacked choreographically for me. It was a bit of a disappointment in the programs department. I personally, in my own opinion, thought it looked like a Junior Worlds podium in program quality. But Satoko's was the one kind of elegant, sophisticated two programs. So I just kind of appreciated her attention to detail and the sophistication there.
And I feel like that is Satoku. So we talk about Brady feeling like it's too detailed, too perfect. I think Satoku is a detailed person. I don't get this sense that she's not connected to this sounds weird, but to being so precise and so perfect in terms of her movements. I think I agree though that she needs more power. If you watch her crossover, she misses her cross under. So that's when the crossover is fine, but the under part, she really needs that push. And compare that to someone like Kaori, who it takes her maybe 1-2 crossovers to get halfway across the ice. Satoku, it's 5. So she really does need to work on that power and that push under, some skating skills.
And that power and push, like if you're going under that way, is that core or is that leg, or which part should be working more than is currently working?
Leg, but see all of the above. I mean, it is using your legs. You want to use your knees, your ankles, everything. There's like a way to, it all has to connect. But it's just practice and it's power, and it is adding a little bit. If she does need that weight, that could help her in that power department.
Okay.
So should we talk about Kaori?
Yeah, let's talk about her. I feel like Kaori, beside adding a quad or a triple axel, I felt like she needs an Adele or like masculine woman moment when she's skating next season, because she kind of has the the power skating, and I think she needs great music behind her. Because I think that this wimpy piano music is kind of dulling her out. Like, she shouldn't be in gray. She needs to be a rich purple kind of, like, girl. She needs her explosive moment of just, like, her inner drag queen needs to come out.
She needs to embrace that athleticism. I mean, the short music program was utterly offensive to me. It made it very difficult, and I like her very much, but it just kind of has like a generic quality to it. But she does have some real powerhouse waist down kind of activity happening. Yeah.
Yeah, those jumps, respect. To the short. So she had a long skirt and her hair was down and it was long. It was too much. It looked messy. I really respected that her hair was up in the long. She needed some hairspray. She didn't wear a hairnet. That's another thing with Brady, get rid of the hairnet. She didn't wear a hairnet, but she needed some hairspray there. The thing about Kaori is that she's very much on to the next, even though she's holding some of the landings and has difficult transitions out of it. I want just land the jump and make it look pretty. With her hands, there's a dead quality. So the energy really stops at her wrists. Like leaves falling off the tree. She needs some energy in her fingers and get the jumps a little bit away from the boards. But I see such promise. I do feel like she's trying to figure out what her style is, and it's not what we saw here.
Then can I ask you on the spiral? Because we see this a lot of times, especially with some of the Russian skaters that will come later, that when the spiral is happening, she has one of those where it looks like she just lets gravity do it. Like she just lets gravity pull her like skull down, and as a result, the leg kind of pops up. What is that? Is that just a lack of engagement? Is that a strength issue or a flexibility issue?
Tension. That's what I feel with her skating, that she needs more Brady tension, that there isn't that tension in her body, which is great when it comes to stroking, that she's so light across the ice, but you also need to balance that lightness with some tension and some harshness. She needs to tense her body up a little bit.
So when you're doing a Kerrigan spiral, how much is your hand actually holding it up? Is it just like for style? Like how much does that arm, like would it help her?
Yeah, it would help. It helps get you like up a few inches.
I think
nobody
does
the Kerrigan spiral anymore, do they?
She should bring it back.
Bring it back.
She could hold an edge and look sexy. She could visit Mary, maybe in Florida. And I think she needs to get rid of the Adea skates because they make her look boxy. And they need to try to soften the edges a little bit and make her look extended. Kaori and Brady could go to some ballet class and some modern class. I think all summer we could get in touch with our inner music. Maybe go to Jamie Silverstein's yoga studio and talk about our feelings. I think that they could really be on
some group therapy.
Yes. Yeah.
Facilitate this. I really do think that they need to, I was talking about this at Nationals, have some sort of group therapy for the U.S. pair teams about their side-by-side triples. We need a 8-week group therapy talking about our feelings about this jump and the complex that we all have because.
How do you feel about Deanna's feelings on the ice? Is it good that she lets them out the way that she does?
I respect that. I mean, she does not suppress her feelings.
She processes out loud.
Was she like that back then? Back in the day?
No, I don't think so. So this is good. I mean, this shows emotional growth. Talking about emotional growth. Rika, I felt like... Okay, let's talk about... That had nothing to do with emotional growth, but I feel like packaging first. In her short program, I didn't like the gloves. She looked very young. In the long program, though, I don't mind it. I actually like that her gloves matched the gray of her skirt. The triple axel, triple toe at the beginning, that was the best one I think I've ever seen a woman do. I would have +4, +5. I wanted her to be on the podium.
I did. I think the issue with her, and I was noticing it from the practice reports from the first day. So one of the gymnastics coaches I talked to flips out if her athletes make too many mistakes in practice at a big competition. She will always talk about how your training needs to be more precise and you can't let the mistakes get in. Rika pops quite often in practice with the triple axel. She will miss 1 out of 5 and it's a little bit too much. That way when it kind of portends to how she's going to skate in the competition, and she popped in the short, and then and if you look at her statistics in practice, you could kind of see it coming. So I think that her practice is kind of an issue with these elements.
But sometimes confuses me because on the warm-up, I think she only landed about 300 cleanly. So, I mean, it was you sort of thought like, because how it works for singing, if I warm up well, we're doing great. And if I warm up poorly, forget it. I should just go home before the performance even starts. Very rarely is there a disconnect. So it's so unusual to have seen her in the warm-up, which I thought would have been much more anxiety-filled for her, to have done so many beautiful triple axels. This is before the long I'm thinking of. And then to have her do the beautiful triple axel, triple toe, and then turn right around and pop the next one.
You think she's doing too many in the warm-up, Jenny? Like she could be kind of...
Yeah, so that kind of breeds within yourself insecurity, feelings of insecurity and doubt. In popping, like you said, Dave, you train your muscles to do that. So when you think about the variables that come into play when it's under pressure, there's so many things that you kind of can't train for that your body's going to go on muscle memory. And if you've had more pops than you have successful rotation and landing the jump, that's what's usually going to happen. So yeah, they need to have some sort of system where if she pops one, you can't do any more of that session, or you take a break because it just starts this cycle of where your body's trained to pop. Yeah, and yeah.
She jumps too much in practice. Like she and Satoko, they both do a lot of numbers, and I think that it's something is wrong there in the training, where it's leading to that insecurity.
And we saw the videos of her training the quad sow and the quad toe, which seemed very pretty in Colorado. But I don't know if that will be more of the same kind of situation, because it truly is, you never know kind of what you're going to get. It's not unreliable enough that I question why she's putting it in. But if she had just merely done a double axel in the short program, she would have been on the podium here. So it's tough, especially in hindsight. It's like, well, you just shouldn't have done it in the short program. Yeah, come on. But
I'm wondering why they only had her do one triple in the long. She should have done a triple toe after her triplet. She only did the triple axel, triple toe. Why don't they have two triples? Because that could have helped her points-wise.
I would think, we have to look again at the layout of her
program.
You're
right. Yeah, she does the triple Lutz double toe, double loop. I wonder, because she does the triple Lutz double toe. Was that supposed to be a triple?
Yeah, I would have, she has space, I think, to do another triple that could have helped her, too.
She can do anything. I think, with her, she obviously trains hard, so I don't think training is the issue. It's the mental preparation, and she's having short program issues consistently throughout the season. So that's kind of the thing, that they need that system. Yeah.
And then, okay, Jenny, riddle me this. So if you were doing your short program and you had your triple, and you were doing triple toe, does that become your mainstay triple? Is that the one you want to put in your long program to keep that triple consistent? Because it's interesting to me, a lot of these girls that will do one triple in the short and then a different triple and not the same triple in the long. I didn't know if that consistency, like Brady having done 3 triple Lutz, triple toes here, it became very consistent. And so it was interesting to see Rika do such a beautiful triple flip, triple toe, and then not repeat that in the long.
Yeah, I would have repeated that in long. I think some skaters like Gabby doing the Rosano. Do you know, somebody messaged me on Instagram and was like, I've never heard of this jump. What is a result? Like, telling me I'm calling it wrong. I was like, I can't even get into it. But
don't worry about it. Yeah.
An easier triple in your short, something that maybe you feel more confident about, and then, having that room for error, like Gabby does the let's toe in her long. But I don't understand why they didn't do a second triple in Rika's program. This was a good learning experience for her, though. Thoughts on Evgenia? She was injured in her long program. Pulled her hip. Was this a success? What was she gonna do?
I think it is, but the double axel is so scary, and that is really worrisome. I didn't like the program was so much accordion noise all season that it was cacophonous. Like it really, there was a lot going on. It was
Dave Lease with the portend cacophonous.
I know we're getting a few in.
Yeah, there was. It was hard to listen to this program throughout the season, and I know that they said that she picked the music, but did she pick all of the music? Like, I don't know. When did Evgenia hear this music, this sound? And not every decision is a good decision. You have to step in as a coach.
But Jenny, to answer your question, I think that this was a rip-roaring success for her. Even though we can see where the flaws are, where the work has to be done, where the trouble areas are, the fact that she almost didn't even make the team, and I think in everyone's preview, she was a total outside shot to get this medal. So I think the fact that it went as well as it did based on the Grand Prix and Russian nationals and things like that, I think this is epically huge for her in justifying that I don't know if she could have skated this well had she just merely maintained her path that she was on from the Olympic year. I don't think this kind of performance would have been possible. And it had to dip. And of course, everyone panicked when it dipped, in that first, oh my gosh, and no one would let it kind of take time. And I think, the double axel did look better at certain points, but I still think we're in that initial year of change. And you can speak to this more having switched techniques, from, I know you said Evie's technique was very strong, and then you went to a place where it wasn't as strong, and then went to another place where it became
Richard
strong.
Callahan, I did not enjoy his technique. Let's just
because it seemed to be just lacking in general, perhaps. But how long does that technique really take to set in, and how much are you reverting? Because I saw that double axel as just a mere reverting under competition lights.
Yeah. So what I noticed is that at the beginning of the season, it looked like they were working on her technique on her flip and her lutz, and I don't see the changes now, and I actually think that's smart. At this stage in her career, I wouldn't try to change some of the other jumps. The double axel, though, has always been kind of sketchy. She did a great double axel in her short. I think in the long, the one that was under, she wanted to land it. It was right at the end of her program, and she went back to old patterns under pressure, which is understandable. She needs to work on her spins a little bit. I felt like they've become a little bit slow. And for her, they have calmed down her arms, but it's a little hunch still on the crossovers. Get the shoulders back. Did you guys think her triple was under in the short?
I put a big question mark on it, though.
Yeah. I don't think Shin would have given it, right? What did you think?
She was called under, and I didn't think it was under. I was kind of confused by that.
Okay. But I really like the Salchow loop in the long. I just wanted to point out that when someone does that, I always am like, balls. Because, you cannot just, muscle a triple Salchow, triple loop. You have to decide going into that you're going to land that thing. That is
Alina Slitskaya.
Yes. Yes. When someone does that deserves, an extra 10 points for me. I'm like...
And she had time when that leg came down. That was backwards. That was good.
Do you think quad Sal for her next season? I think that if she's going to compete for gold, she needs it.
Yeah. That was one of my questions, is what does she need to do over the off season? She needs something like that, particularly with Elizabeth doing a quad. Now it's going there. She's not going to get a triple axel, so let's go for a quad.
Yeah.
And here's the thing. When she first started this season, she had Orange Colored Sky, which was a Sandra Bezic kind of program, and it was womanly and all these sorts of things. And it just seemed too much of a reach for the time. So they went back to Misha and did this short program. And I know that it must have given her the confidence, and it was just a bit of a letdown for me. I understand you can't bite off more than you're ready to chew, but the short program in particular is unforgivable for a skater of this level. I thought the step sequence I just wrote yuck, unfortunately, on my sheet when she did it, because I think she is worthy of greater choreography, and greater choreography is what's going to force her to have improved skating skills and take all of these abilities kind of to the next level. So I hope that this was a quick fix for the season to make a positive end to the World Championships, and maybe they can try a bit more sophisticated approach to the programs next season.
Yeah, I agree. I think this was a great way for her to carry this momentum going off season. I felt like in her long program, she's bringing sophistication, but there's not a lot of feeling behind it. It kind of goes back to what we're talking about with Gabby, where there's an arm and there's, she's focused, but what does that arm mean to
I don't think you can feel that music in the free, but I think she's a performer. I think she's a warhorse kind of girl. I do think, she's traditional. Give her the Rachmaninoff, give her something. I don't think...
Although, there's this thing I have to approach sometimes in singing, am I a warrior or a lover? And sometimes I'm singing too aggressively for a lover and too sensitively for a warrior. And she strikes me as more of a warrior than a lover when she's competing. So I think something that works well with this fight, she came onto that long program to deliver. She had a fighter look on her face. But then, of course, it's a slight disconnect when it's not a warrior type program. So I say go for it, jump in and give her an incredibly strong program.
Now, do you think she still wants to like please Eteri in some way? Like, does she still want to perform for her? Will that like never leave? Like, if you saw Evie at a competition, Jenny, did you want to show him like I could be damn good without you? You know?
Yes, and I think that's good. You need that. I feel like that helped her here. I mean, I'm projecting that onto her, but I feel like you need a little bit of that fight and that fire. And you could see Eteri had it when the results came up and Elizabeth was in second. She was cheering as if she had placed first and second.
Yeah. Didn't Eteri finish first and second here? Was this her gold medal? Yeah.
This is her winning the world championship and coming in second. I mean,
well, and when the scores came up after the short, and it was like just the closest margin to have put Elizabeth right in front of Evgenia, you hear Brian go, "Well, they did that on purpose."
Brian has down energy. Do you notice that? He's an Eeyore. Like, he is a little bit like, woe is me.
And I guess that would make Tracy Wilson a piglet.
Because she is so, like, more of the piglet. Yeah.
She has that like happy personality. Like she's my favorite is when the results come up and the coaches try to make it so that it's like, okay. Did you see it with Jason today? The results. Well, at least you came in top 10. Like, I almost feel like it's better to be like, no, that was not good. Like, keep it real with your skaters.
Or we'll have to get him next time. We'll have to go back and work harder next time.
We have things to work on. There's a way to be positive, but I think hold them accountable.
And the fascinating thing is they were letting the athletes in the kiss and cry see the score before we did and the public did. So it was even more exciting to kind of guess what their charades, facial expression meant. I was like, oh, does that mean it's going to be much higher or much lower than they thought? And I was like, oh, much higher. Okay, that's what their face looks like.
Kaylin Weaver and Andrew Pogier were like, top 5 9 years in a row. And I was like, oh, shut up. Like, you're like...
Wait, pause. And I also like how they make them sit there. Like, you could see when they want to come up, there must be some man there, a woman saying, no, sit until the next skater starts. And when they're not happy, it's very bad. The body language. You just
want to leave, I'm sure. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, if Jenny doesn't like her marks and you watch the old Kiss and Cry, she's like... There's like...
Well, why would you want to sit there and wallow in it and then watch someone else start? That's horrible.
Yeah. It's horrific. Yeah.
You need to rewatch all of Jenny's Kiss and Cries with Richard. Are like they're a lesson in body language. There's a lot going on. I think they're fun.
That 2004 world-long program. I don't know how to hide my feelings. Let's move on. Let's talk about. So, I'm very surprised that Elizabeth am I saying her name right?
Elizabeth.
Right?
Well, it's actually a B.
Elizabeth.
Isn't it a B?
I have to say,
the B and the V is interchangeable sometimes in the Slavic pronunciation, but most of the transliteration has a B. Elizabeth.
Elizabeth.
Tursynbaeva.
Tursynbaeva.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Like tzatziki.
Did you feel like there's a lot of politics behind her? Like, all of a sudden we decided that she deserves some of the same components as Satoko, and she does skate fast, but she's on stiff knees a lot, and she's skating through her music. She's got bent knees and bent arms all over the place.
And, I always promote that skatingscores.com because they put up these, like, interesting charts of how everyone's PCS and scoring goes. So they have this graph of how their PCS has gone throughout the season. And you see, everyone's kind of around the same area. And you see suddenly at 4 continents, out of nowhere, she's improved like 1.5 points consistently. Absolutely out of
the
blue.
And the fans are behind it because she can do a quad sow, and people get behind that Instagram moment. So, but...
Well, let's talk about this because I wrote down her quad sow. It was fine. I mean, it ranged from -1 to +3, so that there was.
It was a minus for me.
There. I thought it was a minus for me, not even base because she was forward. That gave her 10.81 points. Her triple sow, triple toe, second half of her program, 10.89. So here's the thing, like, she does a quad, but triple sow, triple toe, like, that's getting her more points. I just feel like, was it the quad at 4 continents? Because she fell on it there, but was that the perception shift
it's quad,
that you were talking about?
It's Eteri,
But I think it was rotated at 4 continents. And so I think when you even try that and you have that Eteri stamp and you kind of have that, she literally looks like she could be one of those junior Russian girls, aesthetically. And so I think
they're prettier skaters than she is.
I agree entirely, but I think that if you don't know better, you just see something familiar
like
that
if
you
you've
know
seen Dance
places
Moms,
from.
she would be Kendall. Like, she's the girl trying to be like the others who's still like a hot mess.
Well, I could understand it if we had never seen her before. She's been around for a long time. So it's kind of like that's what's so questionable about her suddenly being propelled in terms of the second mark is that I don't see a big change in that area. I do feel like her legs are straighter in the air. They used to be very bent. So there's improvements. She has great spins. I was confused.
The spins get a lot
now, did you like her spins in the free skate?
No.
Because I thought her camel spin was quite upsetting in the free skate, but she was doing some great spinning positions that were very well timed.
Unesthetic positions on almost all of the spins.
Yeah.
Good speed on the spin. Yeah. I to be completely honest, I'm not a huge fan of her skating. In her spread eagle, she needs to get her butt in. I'm just confused.
Even on her upright spin, she has like the leg crossed and like hanging out to the side. Like, she could have clipped Eunsoo at any moment during that program. There are just
not on purpose, but we don't know that.
Yes, it could have happened. And do you think that in the short, since she does the triple sow, triple toe, do you think they're using that as a placeholder? And that they're going to try to put that quad in the short at some point next season?
I think why not? I mean, she needs something if she's going to usurp Alina and really make a name for herself. She needs to be known as somebody who's going to go out there and do this because she's proven she does have a great quad.
Yeah. Now, that spiral entrance was so upsetting that I think they need to stop attempting any sort of spiral choreography with her. Because it just... Yeah.
Take out the spiral and maybe take out the spread eagle too. Just
great.
She has a good back though on her crossovers. Yeah. I don't know if she worked with Tracy, but you can tell that she has a nice back posture. Okay, Alina, what do we think? Because I know Jonathan said Alina. I'm going to call her Alina. No, I'm going to get Alina.
Yeah.
Jonathan, you have strong feelings.
I do have strong feelings. Thank you for noticing. You know, I just wrote, this does nothing for the sport. And I guess that's my takeaway. With great talent comes great responsibility. You are an Olympic champion. You are world champion. What are you doing to push the sport forward and make it better than ever? And all I take away from the Carmen is choppy, choppy, choppy. Flaily, flaily, flaily. And I don't think that this represents what we want the sport to represent. This is not about Alina, because I think she has great spin. She obviously has great talent. I think this is about the material that is being given to her. And unfortunately, why would they change it? Because it seems to always be winning and getting marks that it, in my opinion, doesn't deserve. But I just see choppy and clutter, and it makes it difficult for me to get behind. That's all.
Well, I noticed that if you actually look at her choreography and the transitions, they cleverly do it so that she's always doing back crossovers, and she has really hunched, pained back crossovers where she's trying to stick her head up and her back is a little bit arched, and it looks like she is going to have a back injury at any moment. And it looks... I kind of feel like they've pushed this as far as it can go. Like, I don't see her ever surpassing this moment. But British Eurosport said it was the best Carmen we've ever seen. So I was confused.
No, they didn't.
They love everyone, and that's why everyone likes them as commentators, because they love everyone. They just...
I mean, I just wonder, and this, I guess, falls a bit to the choreographer of choice there, which I guess is Danny G, but it's sort of the Phantom of the Opera. There's like a beautiful lyrical phrase, or as beautiful as it can be in Phantom, and she's like kicking aggressively and doing all these sharp movements, and I was like... Are you listening? Do you hear how this would be like a spread eagle or spiral moment, not a flail and kick moment? And again, the Carmen, it was just, and this isn't even about how it applies to opera, because again, there was no story. So why you choose a story piece, I'm unsure. But it was just, what did I write? And the lack of control in her body. As we talk about like core and things like that, I feel like gravity and her extremities are determining her body position. And to me, it's just not what skating is supposed to be. So it's hard to see it so rewarded.
Yeah, it's just a lot. And the thing is, when she does things like the kick out blast, kick to the side, she has nice lines. She's gorgeous lines. They just don't let her have lines. And I don't think any of this is her fault. I respect so much that she's been so consistent. I did not predict that she would skate as well this season as she has. She's grown, and I mean, respect to that she's been able to keep it together. I thought her Let's Loop in the long was under, very quickly under.
Under, yeah. What do you make of her Lutz entrance? Because she has like a very Nicole Bobek, Tanya Kwiatkowski pattern going in. Like it's all her own of like BS, right?
This is a technique. A lot of Russian skaters do it where it helps with the momentum because you're going from inside edge to the outside edge. It also is supposed to help you with the outside edge because it's hard to do the Scott fold where you're just going to like stay out, Paul Wiley stays on the outside edge for so long. There's going to be a tendency for your body to want to come to the inside. So it's a quick, let's get on the outside edge. It's not aesthetically pleasing, but it works for her. Just everything's so rushed. It's not... I don't. And she needed more lipstick in the short program.
Prettiest face, right? Like she's got a great model face.
Oh, she's gorgeous.
Yeah.
She needs to be in all photographs.
And has a great ability. And that's what makes it more frustrating because these spins are great. And, she has so many wonderful qualities. And so it's why I applaud Evgenia for at one moment realizing, I know this can be easier and I know I'm kind of getting by in certain areas. So she goes and seeks it out. It's a tremendous character. It's a true disciple of the sport. But this is just going to maintain and just turn out more of the same.
Would you continue at this moment? Like if you were her, I feel like this must have taken 50 years off of her life to win the world title.
You could sense the relief when she walked off that ice in the long program when Eteri hugged her. You could sense she was just like, thank God it's over.
Yeah.
The pressure that woman must have been feeling. I would not continue. She's a celebrity. Go to college,
I think she could have her own reality show. Maybe she could host something, skate in shows, and make that so Nikova money. I would be thank you, Eteri. Give her flowers, because Evgenia didn't. So you have to give her the flowers, and then you can move on, right? You can just, Yeah, you move on and enjoy. She proved that she was able to handle pressure this season, come back, that she's, great. She's a phenomenal skater, but maybe she loves it and she wants to stay in it, and maybe she doesn't know anything else, so who knows what's going on with her. Just respect to Eteri, though. What do you make of her and so we can't really know what Eteri's thinking because she likes fillers, but I'm so fascinated by her. Throughout the season, she deserves an Academy Award, all of her own. My favorite, I don't know if you guys have talked about it, but when they asked her who her favorite skater is. And
the shade of it all, yeah.
I was that she would skate into you. She is somebody, if we're thinking of anyone in the sport who would do it, just saying.
Watch out, okay.
What do you make, so her assistants, they have a new hottie at the rink who's working with the young ones. Because have you noticed that Danny G has also aged 50 years? It looks like vodka and cigarettes. He's not even 30 yet. And yeah. He had his moment last season. We need a new pretty boy now. Yeah.
This is how they do it. This is it works.
He's aging out. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, you guys, this is so fun.
Yes.
So how do we end this? Do we say our takeaways?
Yes, our takeaway, a moment of the event. Yes.
Moment of the event.
I think Jenny goes first. I think Jenny needs to go first.
I mean, we have to, I hate myself for saying this. I like the drama.
Yeah.
I enjoy it made it exciting. But in terms of the actual skating, Rika's triple axel, triple toe, respect. I thought she was phenomenal.
Okay, I'm going to say 2 moments off the ice were rough as he handed Eunsoo just the blades, in body language. Also, Eteri, allegedly, and I don't know the video, but there's this video circulating that she thought that Medvedeva effed up as she's sitting there with Tursynbaeva. So that whole exchange with the hug, loved that. And then Medvedeva's Sao loop, I thought was just like balls. And it really excited me. It felt good.
Yeah.
For me, I mean, I was going to say triple axel, triple toe, but someone stole my answer, so I have to be original and come up with my own. And it's going to be just Satoko, just in general, being awesome sauce and beautiful, despite sort of the relevancy and the technical content. Her lunge, I think, is this in the short program?
Her
the
lunge?
Yes. It was an iconic, she does all these triples. No, her lunge. It felt like something I could strive to do.
She gave you hope, Jonathan. She is the accessible skater with that lunge. I love that.
Exactly. I was like, I see you. It's beautiful and it seems within my grasp. I'll try it today.
I would like to see that.
So as always, when you're skating the Celine Dion, keep your leg in, maybe a little bit more. Hold an edge. Stay out of Mariah Bell's way and look sexy. Bye, guys.
Bye, guys.